No monsters got them. Yeah, in fact, they kept the spray bottle there, right? So if one shows up, they could just start spraying in the air right then.
You're listening to Essential Oil Conversations, the podcast for busy women who love natural living, friendship, and a little bit of entrepreneurship too.
All right, Heather, what are we talking about in this episode of Essential Oil Conversations?
Today we are talking about juniper berry, and this is a very unique scent, and it smells immediately like gin, the alcohol, to me.
Mm-hmm. And which makes sense because gin does come from juniper berries. What's funny is I definitely, before smelling this oil or knowing that gin came from it, I would have just thought it would be something berry scented, like strawberries and blueberries and something sweet. And that is not at all what you get with this one.
No, and so this is probably not one that I would diffuse. I think this is one that you use for its benefits and not necessarily for its scent.
Yep, totally agree. And definitely one of the biggest benefits, and I'm going to kind of speak in code in this one, but it helps with liquids flowing through the body. So think about like urination and all the issues that can come with that, both issues from a medical standpoint, but also like kids wetting the bed. It's amazing for that as well. So if you've got urinary issues, this is a great one. You can rub it directly on the abdomen. You can take this one internally as well. So you could just put a drop in water and drink it before bed or at whatever time. But it's a powerful oil for, like I said, urinary issues.
Okay. Yep. I can confirm it definitely has like that gin taste too. It's interesting because it's got a lot more of like a plant taste behind it. So it doesn't taste exactly the way that it smells. But yes, I think this would be a veggie cap one for me. I'm not sure that I necessarily want to put a drop under the tongue. That's interesting what you were just saying about the flowing liquids. I have not used this for that. The way that I have primarily used this is for nightmares. It actually is supposed to resolve the body and the brain from being able to process when we are having irrational fears. And, a lot of our experiences end up translating to our brain trying to process that at nighttime. And that doesn't always go well for people. I have had somebody who was a soldier who had come back and had been back for a couple of years from a war experience, and just nightmares were still a part of his nights. And I think he had tried various medications that the VA had given him, and he was tired of being on medications. The medications either weren't working or were having additional side effects. So we used some reference books and kind of just looked up what was most appropriate. And it came up that combining this with cedarwood actually was a benefit. And so he would apply them topically. I taught him how to make a roller, and we made the roller with the juniper berry and the cedarwood. The cedarwood smells much better in my mind, so I'm assuming it like counterbalances that scent a little bit. But cedarwood's also good for sleep and getting some more deep rest. And then in combination with the juniper berry to hopefully help his brain kind of process through some of those irrational fears, he said that helped. So that was good to hear.
Yeah, that's really good. That's awesome. It's interesting, too, to think about, like, obviously trauma can lead to nightmares, but also buildup of toxins in the body can lead to nightmares. And when I was in school to become a functional nutritionist, I had a handful of people who were like practice clients. And one of my practice clients really did not have any health issues. The only health issue that she could come up with, which she didn't even think was a health issue initially, was that she did have really restless nights because of nightmares. And it was because of contaminated water. And like she doesn't live in a place with contaminated water, or what people would foresee as contaminated water. But unfortunately, most of us, if we're not filtering our water, do have contaminated water. And so she was just drinking city water. And once we identified that, and she just got a cheap filter that she kept in her fridge, it made all the difference for her to be able to sleep well. And so, but we did use juniper berry as well. But I think part of that was also just flushing out the toxins, again, because it helps with urination and stuff like that. and pulling toxins out of her body, and then not adding toxins to her body every time she drank water at her house. And so that combo was really helpful.
Boy, that's interesting. And there's so many factors to consider when somebody is trying to get to the root cause of an issue.
Yeah. Yep. Always.
Yeah. This is one that we've put in our nightly monster spray when the kids were young and having bad dreams.
Cute.
And so putting it with Serenity kind of masked the smell of this because they liked the Serenity smell. But I really like reusing those On Guard hand sanitizing mist bottles. So when that is empty, I can kind of put whatever other oils I want in it. And in this case, it was a little bit of juniper berry and a couple drops of Serenity, and then just top it off with water. And then they can just kind of spray it around their pillows and rooms. And I feel like that was helpful too.
Nice. And no monsters got them. So it
No
clearly was
monsters
effective.
got them. Yeah, in fact, they kept the spray bottle there, right? So if one shows up, they could just start spraying in the air right then.
Smart. Love it. All right. Well, anything else on juniper berry?
This is one that I don't use often, but it again is one that I am always glad to have on hand when I need it. I think this is one of those oils that you really need to be able to have a reference book for. And so we have that link that we'll put in the show notes for the reference book matchmaker to see what reference book is most appropriate for you and what kind of style you like or are looking for. But there are so many things that I don't know which oil I need for that thing, or I have an oil and what is it good for? Oh, wow, I didn't know it did this. And so having a reference book, I think, is very valuable.
Yep, totally agree. And just to remind people too, like just using Google isn't enough with essential oils because all of the reputable sites cannot put legit science-backed information online. So you really need a reference book, and using Pinterest or, like I said, just a Google search is not going to be enough for you. So yeah, check out that free resource. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. We'll have a brand new episode for you soon.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.